Good afternoon. We're here and we're after Christmas. We're almost at the end of 2020. It's been an interesting year, that's for sure. It's funny to me that in Christmas time, people that know of Jesus or knows who he is, at the end of the year they start thinking of the beginning. They start thinking about his birth and how it was awesome and that he was born of a virgin and just miraculous. I hope you've had a good Christmas, and I hope we all have a better year next year. As I think about the beginning, I go to the book of John. So if you will, go to me to John chapter 1. John chapter 1. And I'm going to start off with reading the first 18 verses. John chapter 1, verses 1 all the way down through 18. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness, to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. The true light, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. Listen to this. Yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were not born, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness about him and cried out, "This was he of whom I said, he who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me. For from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, the only God, who is at the Father's side, and he has made him known." We're going to do something a little differently this week. This was actually Morgan's idea. She said, I was reading this to her, and she said, "Why don't you just stop there?" What do you mean, stop here? I haven't said anything. She said, "No, you should stop there." And what she meant by that is, right now, I want you all to pause this video right now and discuss amongst yourselves things that you saw in these verses that were pointed out to you, that you remember. If you're by yourself, go through this and read it again and see what sticks out to you. And if you're with a group of people or your family, talk about it with one another. See what sticks out to you. See what you see. So right now, pause this video and talk to yourselves, talk among yourselves, and then hit play, and then I'll do some talking. So go ahead, pause the video. Well, I hope that you had some good discussion with whoever you're with, or you had some good thoughts by yourself. Some things that stuck out to me. Let's read verses 1 through 3 again. In the beginning, and we all know verse 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Jesus was 100% God, and he was 100% man. And I think myself as a man, how I want to know things, how I want knowledge and wisdom. Jesus was a man that knew everything. He created all of the things that we can know, and yet he walked around with us. He was among us, and he was one of us. Verses 4 through 5. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Here it goes a little deeper than him just creating the whole world. Yes, he created the world, but in him was life, and the life was the light of men. And there's no darkness that overcomes that light. Verses 6 through 8. There was a man sent from God. Listen to that phrase again. There was a man sent from God. Not Jesus, whose name was John. He came as a witness, to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. In Christianity, there are two types of people. The first type is what we read about here, those that are sent. John was sent by God. And the second category of people are those that are called. Someone like Paul would fall in that category. Someone that was on the wrong road, and God called them back to him. Who do you think you are out of those two categories? Now, there are people sitting in the church building every time the doors are open that don't fit in these two categories because they're not true disciples of Christ. They're not trying to shine his light into the dark world. But who are you? Are you someone that is sent, that has been sent by God from the very beginning? You've been a disciple of Christ and you've been on fire for Christ? Or have you been called? Your beginning, you weren't living for God, but at some point God called you back to him, or called you to him. Who are you? Which category do you fit in? And what's crazy about these two categories is no matter if you're sent from the beginning or if you're called to God, we all have the same mission. It says, he came as a witness, to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. So no matter if we're sent or if we're called, we are to bear witness about who sent us or who called us. verses 9 through 11. The true light, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. Yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. Today, Morgan and I, today's Saturday, by the way, that I'm recording this. We were in Mississippi, and in Marietta, Chastity's mom owns a restaurant, but she also owns something called the Sweet Shop. You can go there and buy milkshakes and ice cream and cookies and baked goods and Coke floats, all of those good things. And I had myself a cookies and cream shake myself, and it was really good. But that was actually a propane place, a propane selling propane company owned the building, and they sold tanks out of it and propane gas. That's what it was before it became the Sweet Shop. Now, me and my daddy, we remodeled it, and we turned it into what it is today. And I remember walking in there, into the Sweet Shop today, and there was this young girl. I'd never met her. She was working there. And I started to walk towards the back. There's a section towards the back where there's some storage and utility closet, and that's where the ovens are. I started to walk back there because I put that together. I painted those walls and put the flooring down. But that little girl didn't know that I'd done that. She didn't know that my daddy and I had worked there and we were good friends with the owners. She didn't know that. And I thought about that when I went back towards to those places, to those rooms. She's thinking a random stranger has come in and is going through this Sweet Shop, through the storage and where the office room is. He's just making his way, walking around. And I think about when Jesus came into the world, he created it. He made it what it is. And he came into the world and he started messing around and going places where people usually didn't go. And they didn't know who he was. So they rejected him, even though that he had created everything. And I think us today, myself, God created me. He created my personality, and he created how I think. He created my heart and my emotions. And I think sometimes I treat Jesus as a stranger in my own heart. I treat him as someone who is walking into the shop of my heart, and he goes digging around and touching things and touching places inside of me, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And in reality, he's the one that made me. I think sometimes we guard ourselves and we forget who created us. Verses 12 through 13. But to all who did receive him, listen to this, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. Those who do let him in, and let him in everywhere, he gave the right to become children of God. Undeservingly gave us the right to become children of God. Verses 14 through 18. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory. Glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness about him and cried out, "This was he of whom I said, 'He who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me.' For from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, the only God, who is at the Father's side. He has made him known." What sticks out to me is John bore witness about him and cried out, "This was he of whom I said," listen to this, "He who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me." And I never thought about it until this moment. John was before Jesus. He came and was preaching before Jesus came onto the scene. And I think of how businesses today and thought processes today, the people that come up with the idea first, or the people that make it happen first, the people that create something first, whether it be Walmart and how they have so many different stores, or McDonald's and how they made the fast food industry, those people that made it first, they get all the credit. They get all the glory from it. Yet John came first. And he says, "He who comes after me, ranks before me, because he was before me." John realizes that, yes, before the scene of on earth, John, physically came about first, but Jesus was there way before he ever was. Way before he ever was. And then verse 16, "From his fullness we have all received grace upon grace." I hope you've enjoyed looking at this part of Scripture. I've been reading about the birth of Jesus, and I've literally been going through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and just reading the birth of Jesus. Here we are, because we're here at Christmas time. And I got here to John, and it didn't talk about the birth of Jesus. It talked about before the birth of Jesus. And it talked about how John knew that Jesus was before his birth, and all of the things that come along with that. My challenge for you, 2 challenges for you. Number 1, talk about these verses again if you've thought of anything else, or think upon these verses again if you've thought about anything else, if anything else has stuck out to you. Number 2, read verses 19 down through 28, and it gives you a little bit more of an understanding of who John the Baptist was. Read verses 19 all the way down through 28. I hope you've had a good Christmas. Fortunately, I've had a good Christmas. I've been able to spend some time with family. I know that some people haven't been able to do that. I know that this can be a hard time for people. I think of the Merle Haggard song, "If We Can Make It Through December," and how buying presents, and now some people not having jobs, how it can be a struggle, and losing loved ones. Holidays can always be hard. But know that there's someone out there thinking of you, and that I'm praying for you each and every day, and that all of us here at Leoma, we love you and we miss you. And for those of you that aren't back with us, we're hoping that soon, and we look forward to seeing you sometime. So if you need anything, let me know. Let any of us know here, and we can see what we can do for you. We love you, and we hope you have a great day.